This is the Shf Tobey Maguire Spider-Man figure, and today I'm going to be recreating 10 iconic poses from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. So let's get the accessories and let the challenge begin. For this first pose, we're going to begin with the movie that started it all, Spider-Man 1. The accessories I'm going to be using for this first pose is his web gripping hand and his flipping hand. For this first pose, I'm going to be putting up his leg to the front and to the side. And I'm also going to twist the thigh a little bit out. And I'm also going to bend the leg in and bend his foot down so it looks like he does in the photo or the poster. For his left leg, you're going to want to bring it out just like the same one as the other one. But you're going to want to not bend it as much. For his arms, I'm going to be putting up his left arm. I'm also going to twist his body to the side a little bit and twist his head to where he's web shooting. And I'm also going to twist his arm, twist his hand. And I might put it down a little bit just so it looks better, like he's actually flipping it out. And then for the left arm, it's simple. You just got to put it up and then twist the hand so the web can actually go into it. After putting the web in, I think I did a pretty good job. So let's get on to the next pose. For the second pose, I'm going to be recreating this shot from the end of Spider-Man 1. The accessories I'm going to be using for this pose is 2 of his wall crawling hands. For this pose, I'm going to lift up his left arm and also his left leg. I'm also going to bend it in all the way and put his toe up and then twist his ankle. And I'm also going to put up his head, to adjust his arm until like he can actually grab onto like a pole or something. And you're also going to want to do the same to the other leg and bend it in, tilt the foot and his toe, and then also put the right arm on the pole or whatever surface he's going to stick onto, and there's your pose. And this one I love, and I think I did a really good job. For the next pose, we're going to be doing this crouching pose from the train fight scene. The accessories I'm using for this pose is his wall crawling hand and his relaxed hand. For this pose, what I'm going to be doing is extending his left leg out and twisting it a little bit and bending. And I'm also going to tilt his foot down and to the side a little bit so it can land on a surface. And I'm also going to put out his right leg, but bend it in a whole bunch until it stops you. And then you're going to want to bend his toe. And then for the abs, you can just put it down. And you're going to tilt up his head. And then you're going to want to, after that, you're going to want to put down his arm with that butterfly joint to get his hand planted on the ground. And after that, you're going to want to tilt his hand just like that so it can be on the ground. Tilt his head up if it's gone down. But yeah, you're going to want to put his right hand beside him. And after that, after a few adjustments, you should get a pretty good pose. After a few adjustments, our third pose is done. For our fourth pose, we are going to be doing this pose from Spider-Man 3. For this pose, the accessories I'm going to be using is one of his web-grabbing hands and one of his wall-crawling hands. So for this pose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt his head to the right side. And I'm also going to tilt his body a little bit and put up his left arm. And I'm also going to bend his arm a little bit, not all the way, but just a little bit. And tilt his head until he's to the side. And I'm also going to bring his butterfly joint inwards so that it looks like how we did in the photo or the poster. And I'm also going to bend his leg and pivot his foot. I'm also going to bend his other leg and do the same. And after that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a few minor adjustments. And after that, you should get a good pose. After a few adjustments, this is the pose I got. And I'm pretty happy with it. For pose number 5, we're going to be doing this pose from the Spider-Man 2 movie poster. The accessories I'm using for this pose are 2 of his fists. So for this pose, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to bend his body forward fully and twist it to the right or left of his body. I'm also going to tilt his head up and to the side. And I'm also going to lift his left arm all the way up, as in the photo. His arm is basically bent a little bit. The arm that's at the bottom, I'm going to have a slight curve to it, or a bend to it. And his left leg, I'm going to tilt slightly, or bend slightly. And the right leg, I'm going to bend until it fully goes down. And just like that, pose number 5 is done. For this next pose, I'm going to be recreating this Spider-Man 2 poster. For this pose, the accessories I'm going to be using is one of his raw crawling hands and his relaxed hand, or his mask holding hand, and also the mask and his smiling head. And the reason I'm using his smiling head is because in the poster, his hair is messed up, and on the head, his hair is messed up. So yeah, that's why I chose this head instead of the other one. Yeah, so for this pose, it's very simple. It's just him standing with some of, like, both of his arms sort of bent back and bent forward. And also his left leg is also going forward, like he's walking or something. And I'm also going to turn his head to the left, so it looks like how it did in the poster, where he's looking off to the side. Like I said, this is a very simple pose, and I'm very happy at how it turned out. So for pose 7, we're going to be doing this shot from a Spider-Man 2 poster. So for this pose, the accessories I'm going to be using are 2 of his flipping hands and 2 of his medium-sized web effects. So for this pose, all I'm going to do is lift up both of his arms, put his head down a little bit, also facing the camera, and I'm also going to put up his leg to the side. I'm also going to pivot his feet a little bit, and I'm also going to bend them in until they look how he looked in the poster. And then after that, it should be done. Now that this pose is done, we can move on to pose 8. So for this pose, we're going to be recreating this shot from Spider-Man 1. For this pose, the accessories I'm going to be using are 2 of his web-grabbing hands. So for this pose, what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift up his leg and to the side. And I'm also going to twist it slightly out. And I'm also going to pivot his foot down and a little bit to the side. I'm also going to bend the other knee fully in and also put his foot down. I'm also going to bend him forward to the max and push his head up to the max. I'm going to bring in his arms so his hands can be in front of his whole body. And then I'm going to join his thumb into that little hole that's underneath his other hand. And after you do that, you're going to want to adjust a little bit. And then after you've adjusted, you should get a pose that looks like this. For our next pose, we're going to be basing off this fan art from Spider-Man 1. The accessories for this one are just 2 of his raw crawling hands. For this pose, it's fairly simple, but kind of hard. So you're going to want to bend his body fully forward, tilt his head to the left, and bring in those butterfly joints to where the hands meet in the middle. And then after that, what you're going to want to do, you're going to lift up his leg to the side and tilt it a little bit. And you're going to want to bend it in and bend up his toe on both of those legs. And then after that, you're just going to want to do a few adjustments to the hands, the feet, the toes, anything that looks wrong or anything that that needs fixing. And then after, you're going to want to try and get his hands as low as possible so you can get on the surface. This pose, I'm going to be basing it off the Spider-Man 3 thumbs up scene. The accessories I'm going to be using are 2 of his web-grabbing hands. So for this pose, what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift up his left arm and I'm going to twist his bicep until I can get this thumbs up right next to his head. And then after that, I'm also going to get the other hand, put it inwards. As you can see, the hand kind of fell off there, so I have to put it back in. And this is where the web is going to go, so hold him up. And you're going to want to put out his leg and put out his other leg. So both legs in until their feet are touching. And then after that, you're going to get his web effect and you're going to stick it into the hole of the web grabbing hand. So then he can hold it And then after that, you're going to stick the web between his feet, and then you should be done. And done. I successfully put this figure in 10 iconic poses from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. If you like these videos and would like me to do more, please consider liking and subscribing with notifications on. I'll see you guys in the next video.